Hey, what's going on, you guys? Back with the other topic, the topic that everybody be talking about, everybody asking about. Can Taekwondo survive in a street fight for real? In a real straight up street fight? Answer to the joint is yes, of course. I mean, like I said before, my other videos, you saw my other videos that I post, like I said, it all depends on, who you trained under. Basically, I seen a couple of videos posted and posted by people doing taekwondo, some couple of street fights. This one joint was pretty nice. These two white boys was fighting in the street, and one of them was all gun ho. Was like, "Yeah, yo, what's up? Let's get it, let's get it." And the taekwondo fighter, just threw his hands up, like, "Let's go." And the guy was, trying to rush him, try to hit him, and he hit him with, and the taekwondo guy hit him with a roundhouse kick, and the guy got stunned. He was like, "What the hell?" You just saw his face. He wasn't rushing him no more. He got scared. You could tell, that kind of took that fear out of him. So that was a pretty good street fight. And then it was there's this one guy, I don't know his name. I think he's a kung fu master, but he goes around. I think he's over in the UK or something. But he goes around with different martial artists, and they do techniques or something like that. So he had a taekwondo fighter on there, and the guy was doing all these kicks and stuff, like, yeah, from the street, I would do this, I'd throw a kick like this, and then I'd turn, do this and do that. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, get out of here, man. You ain't doing that. I mean, I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? But just like I said, just saw a video of the other guy in the street fight, and he used his kicks, and basically they worked. So I don't know. Some people is like, some stuff they talk about is some people talk about, a lot of people talk theory, what they could do in the street. It's all theory. With me, I don't teach theory, you know what I'm saying, it comes to street fighting, because I've been in street fights, so I don't teach theory. There's this other guy who's talking about taekwondo, and he said, he asked the question, can pure taekwondo, just strictly pure taekwondo, last in the street fight? And I'm gonna say, no, you're wrong. There's no such thing as pure taekwondo. Taekwondo is an amalgamation. You know what I'm saying? It's comes from out of karate. It comes from Tung Sudo. It comes from the older Kwans. If anybody know their history, you know that taekwondo came out of the older Kwans. There's no such thing as pure taekwondo. All right, and as I explained, everybody, they were saying most of the Korean masters, they train in Japan, so they had an amalgamation of stuff that they learned. There's no such thing as just pure taekwondo. That makes no sense. And the guy was like, "Well, you're saying you're gonna have, when you get into a ground fight, you get on the ground, you get into a clinch, and what you gonna do?" People are always coming up with these scenarios about, what you going to do, this happen. If your training is complete, you have a complete training. Like I said, my training was complete. So I know what I'm gonna do, and I know what to do because I've done it. You know what I'm saying? So people like that, it's like you guys want to make up all these scenarios and stuff because you guys haven't been in a street fight. You guys haven't been in a street fight. You know what I'm saying? Your intuition kicks in. You know what I'm saying? So, man, all this crap, and he didn't. I don't know. Was you addressing me? Because looking around, I don't know. Looking around on YouTube, I don't see too many people that be bragging about who they train under. Yeah, I know. I be saying it all the time. And I'm not supposed to be saying it? I think that's dumb. If you could brag about, what I'm saying, people could brag about what university they went to, how come I can't brag about who I train with? And be proud about who you train with. You know, you ain't supposed to. You ain't supposed to. Man, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm gonna brag about who I train with. Just get out of here, man. So y'all dropping names. Yeah, I'm dropping names. What's up? And then he gonna say, you know what I'm saying? You talking all trash on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? The parking lot right here. Yeah, no, I'm just playing. I ain't playing. What's up? You know what I'm saying? Y'all be talking trash all on the internet. All these these internet masters and fighters, man. That's all you guys are. You know what I'm saying? This one Bama, he was this couple of years ago. This Bama was trolling me. I don't even like to use that damn word, but this Bama was hawking me. You know what I'm saying? All of my videos, posting bullshit. You know, and so one time I just hit him up. I said, "Yo, where you located at, man? Give me your address." I think he live in Georgia or somewhere. You know, but then he gonna talk about, yo, now I'm in Korea right now. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you in Korea? It's like, get out of my face, man. All right, let me know when you get back. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never hit me back. You know, I put in the work. I go to the tournaments. I compete. I have fun with it. And I back it up. I get in the ring and I back it up. You know what I'm saying? I could do it in the ring or I could do it in the street. And there's another channel where this guy, he goes, talks about the history of Tang Sudo and the history of Taekwondo. But he falls into the mythology of trying to connect Taekwondo with Taek Young, the old Korean dynasties or Celia and stuff like that. And there is no connection though, And the reason you can say that is because when Japan occupied Korea, when they annexed Korea in 1910, I think 1910, 1920, I think it started. But they annexed Korea. They killed millions of Koreans. Their whole goal was to exterminate the Koreans on that peninsula. That's what they was trying to do. And some of the first people they killed were the martial artists. All the elders and seniors, they killed millions. Millions. And it's interesting because the same experiences that the Koreans were going through in the early 1900s with the Japanese is the same experience that Black Americans were going through with white people in America, being lynched and hung, throughout all the South, and even in some of the northern states, even the Mexicans, in the Southwest, being lynched, hung from trees, burnt alive, castrated. The same experience. So that's why I was like, I was always like, I couldn't understand how some of the Koreans would be kind of like, don't like black people, and yes, I've been to Korea. I know. All right, they don't like black people, and I'm like, we go through the same, but they love to hang out with white people, and I'm like, but we went through this almost the same experience, But anyway, yeah. So in the early 1900s, when Japan occupied Korea, they killed millions of people. They were brutal to the Koreans, and they wiped out a lot of the old instructors that had any connection to that ancient art. So that's why you can't say there's a direct line, a direct lineage, back to the Celia dynasty. They killed millions. I mean, millions. It was brutal. It was a brutal time for the Koreans. And, by the time they got their independence by 1945, then in 1950, yeah, that Civil War took place with divided North and South. The Korean government was asking the masters to come up with, a Korean sport, the national sport, martial arts sports for them. And that's, they came up with Taekwondo. So the masters who already had studios, who was already teaching, they trained all in Japan. When Korea was under Japanese occupation, a lot of them was forced into the military, and they went to Japan, did their training in Japan and education in Japan. Like my instructor, he trained at Taekwondo Ken, and then they just went back to Korea, and they started teaching. So that's where Taekwondo comes from. So there's no such thing as pure, just pure Taekwondo. There's no such thing as that, because it's a mixture of stuff. So you had the rise in the 1970s and the 70s, 73, with the Olympic sport Taekwondo. They had a rise of the sport style. That style became more popular, but that's what majority of people do today here in America and around the world. A lot of people do the Olympic style Taekwondo, but that's not called pure Taekwondo, because, like I said before, there are different styles, different schools of Taekwondo. And so if you come across somebody, who's an old school, Taekwondo practitioner, like I said, when the push for Taekwondo, when they came up with the name Taekwondo, it was a push, to promote Taekwondo. And a lot of the old instructors trained in Muda Kwang, Chundo Kwang, Kung Su Kwang, and Sumo Kwang, and all that stuff. The other Kwangs, they just dropped the name and just added Taekwondo to it. And they were still doing their same old forms, the same type of training. So that's how we learned. Because when Ki Wayne came to America, he was promoting Tung Sudo Muda Kwang, and then he dropped Tung Sudo and just became Taekwondo Muda Kwang, and the school, known for Taekwondo, was promoting Taekwondo, but the training stayed the same. The training didn't change. We didn't do the Taeguks or the Palgays or we didn't do those forms. When General Choi came and asked Master Kim to do the forms, Master Kim was like, them forms are trash. We're not doing those. And he didn't want to do them. So you had that time period. It was a short time period, like 15 years before the Olympic Taekwondo got started in 1973, that old school Taekwondo was, that street Taekwondo was all that they did, and what the military guys did. And this is the reason why you had so many American soldiers in Vietnam and in Korea came back to the United States with black belts in Taekwondo, because they saw the Koreans in action. So basically, to answer the question, yes, Taekwondo does work in a street fight. Olympic Taekwondo, no. More than likely, no. But old school, traditional style Taekwondo, yes. And the reason that everybody keep asking this question is because you have a majority of the people training in Olympic style Taekwondo, training in sport Taekwondo, instead of training in real, actual self-defense Taekwondo. And that's why you have so many people who teaching, Taekwondo, so many schools that are teaching this Olympic style Taekwondo. They also teach like jiu-jitsu and boxing and Muay Thai, whatever. They teach something else, because what they have to offer in Taekwondo is not complete. The sports Taekwondo is not complete. It's not a complete self-defense. So they add other styles. And that's why I say, there's no need to add another style. Just train in traditional Taekwondo, and you wouldn't have to add another style. I've never trained in anything else, in any other art. And everything I learned, I came from Ki Wayne Kim, who trained under Taekwondo Ken. So everything that we learned works very well in the street. And I know, because I've been a bouncer for several years. And Albert Cheeks was a bouncer for several years. And Master Kim was a street fighter. And so I know it works. So it was a complete art. It's a complete system. And a lot of schools today, they don't have a complete system. And a lot of people don't want to do what it takes to teach or to learn a complete system. I remember before, when I went away like I was 16, and I came home when I was probably like 21, right? 22, something like that. And, I looked up Master Cheeks, I was asking my dad, where Cheeks at? Nobody knew where Cheeks was at. So this was, Master Kim had passed away, when I was 16. Now he had passed away. And so I was looking up, when I came, a lot of the black belts, they, they went their own way. And so I was training with, some of the other black belts from Kim's studio when I came home because I couldn't find Cheeks. I went to go train with Master Jimmy Roberts back at the old Kim studio up in Rockville. But then I found Master Cheeks for like, it took probably like 6 months to find out where he was at, to get his info. And I called him and I was like, yo, Master Cheeks, what's up, man? I'm home, man. And so I was like, I want to train. And he was like, yo, all right, what's up? And I went over to the house and we talked. And I was like, yo, where the school at? Where your school at? You not teaching? He's like, nah, I don't want to teach no more. And I was like, why? So this was like the early 90s. No, I mean late 90s. It's had to be about 97 or something like that, 98. And I'm like, why you don't want to teach? What's going on? And he said, y'all don't want to teach no more because nobody wants to put in the work. That's why he didn't want to teach anymore. And I just didn't understand what he meant because, I mean, like I said, I only trained with, under Ki Wang Kim and Albert Cheeks. So that style of training was what I was always used to. But he was like, yeah, people didn't want to put in the work and what it takes to get the black belt and the black belt style of training that we do. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? So, years pass. I'm older and, I went away again, came home. And, people was like, I was looking for a job and people was like, yo, you should teach. And I was like, teach? Teach what? Teach karate. And then I started looking at places that were working for other people to teach karate. I was like, all right, let me check it out. So I was working for other people. And there's one guy I worked for in Potomac, Maryland. Great guy, Master Sharma, great school. And, he hired me because he knew that I came from a Kim studio. And he said, all right, yeah, come on board, man. And let me work with the class. I'm teaching. He's like, yo, good. You know what I'm saying? I like your style of teaching. That's old school style. I like it. And so one day he said, yo, I got to make a phone call. He stepped outside to make a phone call. And he's like, yo, he left the class to me. He said, go ahead and warm him up. And this was the teenager class. Everybody was like 13 and over. It's a couple of adults. So, I warmed them up, started doing, I think did a couple of jumper jacks. I think when I did like 200 or maybe 300 jumper jacks, he came back in and they was like, oh my God, man, we just did 300 jumper jacks. And he looked and he pulled me to the side and said, Hurt. Don't train them hard, man, because they won't come back. And I was like, what? And so, I toned it down a little bit, And then, sure enough, for the rest of that week, those kids didn't. This the teenage class, teenagers and adults. They didn't come back. Like only 2 people showed up for class. 2 or 3 people showed up for the next class, next day. And this happened for about a week and a half. Because for the rest of that week, they didn't come back. The following week, I think they didn't come in until like the end of the week, like Thursday or something. Man, Master Sharma looked at me and said, I told you, Herc, man, this generation kids, man, they don't train like we train. He's like, you can't train them hard. And I'm like, what in the world? And that wasn't the only school. I mean, I worked at other schools and same thing. You train them hard, you push them hard. A lot of them, they don't want to go through it. And I've been on blogs and forums, groups on Facebook and stuff, and we always talk about training. And I'm like, what do you have to say? Nah, we train like, we do this, you're supposed to do that. And, they look at me and like, are you crazy? That's not what it's supposed to be about. Or, I've been kicked out of many blogs and many groups because the way that I talk about training, my approach to training. But my approach to training came from Albert Cheeks. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it's nowadays people don't want to put in the work that it takes to train. And for some reason, the mentality is that only people, only MMA classes and, these mixed martial arts bullshit, that's the place where you're supposed to go do hard training. For some reason, I don't know why y'all think like that. Remember this one guy posted in the group I was in on Facebook. I said, we did like maybe 20 minutes, you know, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of warm up because classes was an hour and a half under Key Wayne. Every class was an hour and a half. And I said, we did 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes warm ups. And the guy was like, that's a waste of my time. I want to join no school. They got a 30-minute warm up. I'm not joining no gym. I came to do martial arts. And I was like, the fuck you talking about? That's a part of the training. Being conditioned is a part of the training. But for some reason, that's people's mentality nowadays. And I don't understand why. Today, a lot of people, they don't want to train hard. So that's why the Taekwondo today, yeah, it ain't going to last. There's a lot of people, they won't last in a street fight because they don't put in the hard work. For some reason, at these Taekwondo schools, they lazy with it, Actually, recently I just went to a tournament with Master Cheeks, and him and a couple of older guys, they were standing around talking and laughing, at the competitors, and they were just like, "What is this crap? What the hell are they doing? Like this is trash." And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why we even come here, man? If all you're gonna do is just bash these guys. But that's all they were standing around doing, just talking about how these guys were trash. And like back in the days, man, we didn't train like that. Back in the days, we put in that work. Back in the days, we threw some real techniques. Back in the days, and that's all they kept saying. And I was like, well, nowadays it's just people that don't want to put in the work. And you have all these instructors out here who are, these masters and grandmasters in Taekwondo who are teaching trash. So this is why Taekwondo has a bad rap. But if you find a traditionalist Taekwondo person, an old school Taekwondo person, their training can last and does last and, does handle very well in a street fight. All right. But today's Olympic style, these half-ass training people, no, it's not gonna. No, it won't. They can't cut it because their training is not complete. It's not whole. Whereas my training, like I said, I've never had to take any other style, and everything I've learned works in a street fight because I know because I've been in them. I've been in the street fights, and I know it works. So I'm just letting you know. But yeah, so you can't be like, yeah, just strictly pure Taekwondo. No such thing as pure Taekwondo. And that's it, yo. So hopefully you guys can find a good traditional old school Taekwondo school, and get the training with them, and you'll see the difference. There's not too many of it that exist nowadays. Not too many at all. All right. That's what I wanted to talk about. Holler at you guys next time. I'm out.